Hey guys, welcome to The Refined Savage. Hey, I know that most of you come here for the strength and conditioning stuff, but I am interested in a lot more than that, and because it's my show, we'll talk to whoever the fuck I want to talk to. So on today's show, we have Matt Mars. Matt is the owner and operator of Michelin star rated restaurant Chez Francois in Vermillion, Ohio. It's a top restaurant in Ohio. Matt really puts out some great insights on not just restaurants, but how to run a business in general successfully. The guy's been in business forever, serving some of the best food and beverages around. Really interesting. We were in the restaurant during the podcast, so there's a lot of background noise and stuff coming back and forth and going on, but that's life in the restaurant right before the business opens up for the day. So check this out. I think you're really going to dig it. It's a little bit something different this week, so I hope you enjoy it. All right, see ya. All right, Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
We are here at Chez Francois, Vermillion, Ohio. You have Chez Francois here and two Sheas, which is the upstairs.
Yep, absolutely.
Now, 5-star restaurant, right?
Well, I mean, we've never been rated 5 stars. So
okay. How does that work?
So there's the Mobile Travel Guide used to have a 5-star rating system, and to be honest, I don't even know where that system is anymore.
Right.
Mobile Travel Guide. Then you used to have Zagat was a pretty good reviewing section, booklet that would come out. And we were highly like 29 out of 30, so we were one of the highest rated restaurants in the country. And then there's Michelin. Yeah, and then there's Michelin, and Michelin is a 3-star, 1 to 2 to 3 stars. And they kind of fly over us. They go to New York, they go to Chicago, and then they go to California in that. So we're probably in that range of probably a 2-star in that. In the open table, which is our reservation system, which is pretty cool because you have your customers, your guests, review you and rate you. So we're about a 4.9 out of 5.
Nice.
There's not a restaurant in the country that has a 4.9, and we're one of the top. Yeah, in fact, in the foyer you'll see the top 100.
Right.
Open table. That's top one. That's 100 out of 40,000 restaurants. So last year we didn't get it. We were 120th. So.
What? Now we come here.
Mm-hmm.
We come here probably 2-3 times a year.
Sure.
And it's an experience when
Mm-hmm.
we come here. This isn't going to even a nice restaurant. It's completely different.
Right.
What do you think makes you guys that level to get that kind of rating?
A couple of things. Where we're situated in this old building that was built in 1840. So 1840 was 20 years before Abraham Lincoln was the president.
Wow.
25 years before the American Civil War was fought. This building was erected.
What
it was
it?
Originally they built some sort of sailing schooner or something out of here, some sort of storage or a cargo schooner, and that they built in the middle of the dining room, and then they'd ship it off. And who's to say that wasn't the early guys, George Steinbrenner's great-grandparents, grandfathers, or who's to say that they didn't start here and then say, all right, let's go to Lorraine and start American shipbuilders.
Yes, right.
Could have been.
Yeah.
So that's what they originally did. And then turn of the century, 1900 to 1930, it was it was owned by the Rainey brothers. And the Rainey brothers were the first commercial fishermen in Cleveland in 1865. Then in 1900 they came out here and they fished for whitefish and herring. No perch, no walleye, whitefish and herring. And then the other question we always asked, but we kind of looked up and said, well, who's to say they didn't sneak in a few barrels of whiskey during the Prohibition time, right? But they went out in 1930, and Prohibition ended in 33. Right. So it would make really more sense if they went out at 33. Then maybe there was a little shenanigans. Then 1930 to 1966, it was a small boat storage facility for old Lymans and stuff like that. And in that time frame, 1947, a guy named Sandy Douglas invented the Thistle sailboat, which is a world-class sailboat today. He and a guy named George McLeod figured it out. It was a 3-man skiff sailboat. We have one up at Touche hanging, the third one ever built.
Oh, sure. Okay, now I know what you're talking about.
So they went to Grand Harbor then after they figured it out here. They went to Grand Harbor. I think Grand Harbor, the port and everything, was a little more commercialized than Vermillion. And then in 1967, with the help of Ted Wakefield from Vermillion, they started L'Auberge du Port, an old French restaurant.
Okay.
So it just has such a cool European feel.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I remember years ago, in 1995, we did a dinner with Wolfgang Puck, and he just came in. His eyes were looking up at the ceiling. He goes, "Man, you don't see this. You don't see this kind of facility in the United States.
Yeah.
You know, this is a European facility."
Right.
So you kind of get that. You're in the middle of, you're driving down down 60 or wherever, and you're in the middle of cornfields.
Yeah.
And you're saying there's absolutely no reason a French restaurant of this caliber should exist.
Sure.
So you immediately come in. It's a cool space.
Beautiful view.
Beautiful view of the river, and we're uncompromising. We don't compromise on quality. We just raise our prices. So that's just it. So we will buy the best, and you'll hear that a lot from other places. You're never satisfied. You're always looking for the best. You're always looking for, can we get something better?
Yeah.
And we follow the seasons. So long before this farm to table whatever thing was going on, we just naturally did that.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Novotny up on 60 said, "Hey, we got local farmers. Do you want me to source stuff from?" Like, yeah, let's source what, and you got to make sure it's good.
Yeah.
It can't be something that's inferior
Sure.
quality. But think about it. You've got all those apple guys. You got Corey Hill, and you got Bill Dodd doing great apple work. Bill Dodd just invented a new apple called the Evercrisp. So it's a cross between a Fuji and a Honeycrisp. It took 20 years to develop it.
Wow.
He had guys, and he still has guys that came in from Oregon, Washington, New Zealand, Australia, Germany, Italy, that helped develop this apple. And think about that. It's 20 years. So now you have a 20-year investment, and all of a sudden it would say, like, boy, I hope that apple tastes good, right? What if it doesn't, right? But anyways, so you got those kind of guys around, and Lee Jones and the Jones family at Chef's Garden, who do unbelievable work in microfield greens and different types of lettuces. And
who knew all this stuff was around here?
It's great. It's world class. It's not something to look. It's world class. These guys ship throughout the country, and that so you have some really cool local products, and there's a couple local guys that do asparagus, stuff like that. So it's cool. It's really cool. So we just buy from those guys. Why not? Why wouldn't you? Honey, there's a guy in Berlin Heights that does honey. So come on, Brandon, let's get local honey.
Right.
And so when we can do local, we do local. And that's just, and then we follow the seasons. So in the spring, you're doing asparagus and stuff like that. In the summertime, we're doing soft shell crabs. We're doing king salmon.
Sure.
We're doing whatever mushroom. We always, our mushrooms are all sourced northwest United States. So we're in Oregon and Washington. We got 2 purveyors out there. That
Don't you have like a mushroom tasting night of some
No,
kind?
we haven't done that yet. We should do that.
I get emails from you guys all the time.
Yeah. That would be cool. But they forage for mushrooms out there, and we follow the seasons in mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And that we have great purveyors. Cantonese Brothers of classic seafood in Cleveland. Blue Ribbon Meats are great. D'Artagnan started out as foie gras, and they were strictly a foie gras producer. And
which is duck's liver.
And so as some people have said, animal rights, the whole thing with ducks, foie gras, our D'Artagnan started to branch off, and they started to source, venison from small farms and wild boar and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. So you just source from different things. We got a guy that does hearts of palm. He's on the Big Island of Hawaii. He's on the Hilo side, so he's on the wet side of Hawaii, and that's all he does is hearts of palm.
Yeah.
And when we do a dish with hearts of palm, we call him.
Right.
And he goes on, he cuts down a palm tree, and he ships it to us.
Wow.
So I asked him one time, I said, I went out there, I visited him. I said, how'd you find us? And he goes, it's a god. I went to the top Zagat restaurants, and I just started calling people and say, hey, do you want hearts of palm in that? So it's pretty cool. So you just do that kind of thing.
So, I mean, I assume you guys take great pride in the fact that we're giving you the best.
Correct.
And we're not expecting everyone. This is not a restaurant, because of the price point, that everyone is going to go to.
Correct.
But when you come here, the experience is, in my opinion, what you're paying. The food is fantastic. Obviously, it's my favorite restaurant to come to. But I think the experience is what you get.
The experience is the word that I look for. It's like, hey, we had a great time. I always look for you had a great experience.
Yes.
And experiences, it's everything included. So think about this. They always say restaurants are a tough business. I say, well, why? Well, it's just tough. But no one really defines why it's tough. in order for you to have a great experience, I have to cater to every one of your senses.
Mm-hmm.
I have to cater to your eyes, your sight. I have to cater to your feel, to your aromas, to your smell, everything.
Yeah.
What other business has to cater to
and anticipate that?
Right. And
that's the hard
not
part.
only that, deliver on all of those senses without attitude.
Right.
You could have all those senses, great place, and the servers or the store, they're jerky or they're jerks, So then you have to deal with that. So on top of all of that, you have to do that. And then the other word is umami. Umami is that richness, that's just like a short rib, just sous vide and just so that's a whole nother, aspect of things.
Right.
Can you get a drink? Can you make a drink that has that umami character of it? That he says, man, it's so good. It's just so there's a lot.
Yeah, and
involved.
You're looking at food,
Right.
but I'm also guessing that you're putting a lot of time and energy into the wines you're bringing in.
Absolutely.
And the liquors you're bringing in.
So we have 400 selection wine lists. We're the best of in the Wine Spectator. So that's probably 300 of us in the country with that word. But yeah, liquors has just taken off. So
mm-hmm.
I just picked up today Glenfiddich 21-year-old Scotch. It's $300 a bottle. There's 3 in the state of Ohio, and it's aged 21 years in Sauterne casks. So Sauternes are just stories. So we're always looking for so I've got some pretty good, the guys like Pappy Van Winkle, the famous bourbon. So the people that source some of that from me are old Lakewood friends. John and I grew up in Lakewood area, and we just so happened, 40 years later, they're the ones that are in charge of these kind of things. So it's kind of cool. So we try to just do exclusive things, just try to find things that no one else has.
Now, I'm a rum drinker. When I come here,
I got great rums.
Which should I try? I like dark rums.
I've got a great list. I got this Bombas. The latest one is this Bombas. I think it's aged 8 years from Guatemala. And that's really, really good. It's sweet. It has this beautiful thing. So what we did with that is we took that, and I took some Honeycrisp apple cider. So it's most apple ciders you get, especially from local guys, are all different varieties, and they're blended into one. There's a few guys, Red Jackets out of Pennsylvania, and they do single-pressed apples. So they have Fuji, they have Honeycrisp. So we take that Honeycrisp apple cider, and I use this Bombas rum. I did some Pedro Jimenez, which is this dessert sherry and we put all that, a couple bitters, and man, it's just a great drink. So do that. Another one that's great is Pineapple Plantation. Pineapple, it's like Figgins Plantation. So they're taking rum, they're aging it with pineapple chips. So it has this slight pineapple flavor to it. Pineapple and rum work great together.
Yeah.
All tiki drinks are pineapple and rum.
Then
you got Zacapa, Ron Zacapa is a dessert rum. But there's just a whole pirate. There's some great rums out there now. But you're ahead of the curve. And they're still in bourbons.
Right.
Yeah, people haven't transcended into the rum business. But there's great rums. Compared to a couple of years ago, you had Bacardi.
Right.
You had Bacardi Light and Bacardi Dark, and that's all you had. So it's really cool. And I'm going to tell you this. The Vermillion store, the liquor store, is unbelievable because you should go in there. Look at the single malt scotches. Look at the bourbons. If you want to find something unusual.
Which the one...
In Giant Eagle.
Because that's where I shop usually.
Right, but look through. They have an unbelievable selection because of me. Because I go and I ask for things and they bring stuff in for me. And because they bring in 6 bottles, I might take 2 and the rest are there. So, and then now... what you've done, you've built up this store to where people know. Right. So now you've got this a lot of people that go there looking for single malt scotches. As long as they're selling these products, the state will keep these products in their store.
Sure, right.
So, Rudy, has jumped on the bandwagon, so he's buying stuff from them and some other local guys. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
I'm going to have to check that out.
It's great.
I always get my brand and then
I leave. No. You got to go there. That great bourbons, great single malt scotches, a great selection of rums, tequilas, vodka. It's a great store.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. It took them a while. It took them a while to get going and understand it, but a couple of girls that run it, do a great job in that. So, but it's cool.
And again, you're buying local here, so
absolutely. Yeah.
For those people who don't know, Vermillion is kind of this oddity where it's a tourist town, which is the weirdest thing here in Ohio on Lake Erie. And people hear that, I tell people that it's a tourist town, and they can't picture that. But
well, you think of you think of this. Why is it? It's really the start of the tour. So it goes here, and then it goes up to Catawba Island, up to Port Clinton. So what happened? You had Linwood happen, and Linwood were originally, I think they were Lutherans from Pittsburgh that started that.
Yeah.
They all wanted to get a summer retreat, a summer place to go.
Sure.
And they started Linwood. I believe that was it, because you still have some families from Pittsburgh that are still there. So you had that. You got the lagoons that, at one point were really summer cottages. And then as you go to Heidelberg Beach and you go to, up the thing, you got these religious retreats that people, came in the summertime. And so it developed into that kind of area where you boat is. You had, in the time, Lorraine, rocking and rolling. You had U.S. Steel, you had Ford. Yeah. You had guys that wanted to get out in their boats and everything. So you had either Vermillion or Lorraine, where you're doing a lot of boating out of here. Right. And it just transcended into this cool little town. And it's located. Look at the location. It's crazy. You have 45 minutes from Cleveland, an hour from Toledo, and then the triangle is Columbus, and you have Columbus, and then Toledo and Cleveland, and everything in between. Yeah. And that's our market. Especially here, that's where most people come from. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I assume that making an hour trip out here for a meal like this and an experience like this is not a big deal.
It isn't. Our average person out here drives an hour. Upstairs, it's more like people within a 20-minute radius. So upstairs is more local, and then down here is definitely outside that hour.
And Touché's is, it's kind of hard to explain to Touché's because it's
it is.
You still get a wonderful experience.
Yes.
There's not much difference.
So we've got like meatloaf and short ribs and perch and some just cool items. So it's more of kind of a bistro. Smaller portions, smaller prices. You don't have to walk down the stairs.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of women. Women love Touché because it's a place to hang out with their girlfriends and not be bothered.
Last time we were at Touché's, there was some kind of office party with probably 15 women at a table. Just
women love
yakking away.
Did we? You look at things like what's your target market, and if I say single malt scotches, bourbons, and this, it doesn't sound like that's women, but it's it's not per se they're drinking that. But it's really a place where women, and it's a cool hangout for them. And it's still school teachers, hey, just want to get out of the class, be done with school and just come down and hang out. So that's pretty cool. But getting into the special experience, so we've got great servers. Our servers have been with us,
people.
10 years.
Never had a bad server here.
Yeah, and and I hate attitude. So if they come with attitude, then they don't get hired, or if they're hired and we find out they got too much attitude, then we ship them out, because it's just. I don't need attitude. I don't like that. We want to be
ruin
helpful.
Everything.
Yeah, we want to be helpful. We want to be, we want to give people knowledge. We want to share our knowledge of things that they might not have normally see.
Sure.
Or come across on that. So that's kind of one of our missions, is to do that. Upscale, unique, and that. And we're one of I hate to use the word dinosaur because that means we're dying off, but there's not too many of us left that have the white tablecloth. Everything's in the middle. Everything's kind of doing the crap. Not crap, but everything's just. Everything's the same.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, all these other restaurants, right?
Where for a special place, us, then maybe Pure W and Lakewood's white tablecloth, that's pretty cool. And then maybe you go downtown Cleveland, but there's just not a lot of really.
Well, even in downtown Cleveland, the thing that I noticed different here is if you go to a nice restaurant, like there's some down on 4th Street that are, but it's still, they want you in and out.
Yeah.
They're pushing you in, they're pushing you through. We've routinely spent 3 hours at this restaurant.
Yeah, when Open Table came in, we redid their Open Table. They relaunched it with upgrades. They said, well, what's your average for 2 people? We said 2 hours, and we actually have come back to them and said, no, it's 2.5.
Easy.
You can mark it. So it's 2.5, it's 3 to 3.5, and just that's the way it is. So pretty much your table is your table. Mm-hmm. Like people call it, oh, I'm running late. Like, your table is your table.
Yeah.
We're if we can turn it, we will, but that's based on like a 3-hour turn.
Sure.
So we are running into a little bit of trouble when you get people that don't want to be here that long. And that doesn't happen that often. But you do run into those guys but those people that are been boating all day. They've had a few rums, and they're kind of coming down from that. But for the most part, we get arguments. Like people say, we've been here an hour and a half. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And that's just kind of.
And you have a nice cocktail, and then they let you finish your cocktail, and they come over. Maybe you have another cocktail.
Right.
And,
it's just your pace. We're going at your pace, not our pace.
They're bringing out your appetizers and the amuse-bouche and things like that, which I didn't even know what it was. I had one of your servers explain that to me. So
it's at your pace. It's at whatever pace you want to be at.
Yeah.
And so I thought, hey, if you want to be faster, let us know. We'll get you out faster. But for the most part, we kind of pace things.
I think you just have to realize this isn't Applebee's.
And
You're
again,
coming
going
here
to
for
it's an experience, and there's a saying in Japan, and I'm going to probably mispronounce it, Ichigo Ichi-e, which means it's every experience is a one-time experience. It's a one-time moment. Mm-hmm. You can be with the same people every week, but every moment is a different moment.
Sure.
So sit back, relax, enjoy the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And who you're with, and enjoy and talk. Put your cell phones down, turn them off, and relax and enjoy.
Isn't that huge?
Yeah.
I can't imagine being in a place in here and dealing with that and sitting there on your cell phone the whole time.
Right.
And not dealing with things.
Right. Yeah.
Always doing business, man. It's always doing business.
Yeah. All right. I don't know. If beer's going up, Kim Crawford goes up. Right. Yeah. Yep. Give me the Silverado down. Give me the Roundbauer down. Give me the Catena down. The Bouchard down. I don't know about this one. And the Rosé down. Those three. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. So,
how attached are you to your cell phone? As being the main guy here. I mean, are you working 24/7, 365?
No, I don't like the cell phone as much, so I put it down. When we open, I don't have it so much. Mm-hmm. My wife kind of gets mad at me. I called you. I'm like, I'm working.
Yeah.
Put your cell phones on, you guys. You get too attached to it.
Yeah.
So I'm not as attached to it as.
I'm just wondering when you're not here. Are you?
No. I'm off doing other things. So. Yeah. But still working. We work. John and I, Chef John D'Amico and I started, in 1987. But we, nobody works harder than us. Some people might work as hard. Nobody works harder. I mean, it's a 15-hour day every day.
Yeah.
And it's just that.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of.
And what's his background?
So John and I grew up together in Lakewood. He worked for my dad as a dishwasher when he was 13.
Wow.
At a restaurant right outside it was on Clifton on 117th, on the border of Lakewood and Cleveland. And John's father passed away when John was a kid, like 12 years old. His dad was like 42. Wow. And so he just needed a job, so he came in and worked for my dad, and he was washing dishes. And then eventually he convinced the kitchen staff, the guys in the back of the line, to saute for him. So he was cooking at the age of like 14 or 15, and he just continued on that, and he just to this day.
Yeah.
He cooks every night.
So he's basically a local kid who's taught himself how to do this.
Yep.
That's fantastic. Yeah. It's amazing how every time you go to a restaurant around this area, somebody was a former chef here.
Yeah, like Rudy and Sarah, they started out here. Josh over at the Wine Vault, he started here.
Yeah. So now you have all these nice restaurants. Rudy's is Rudy's used to be my favorite bar when I was a kid. When I was real young, there used to be bootleggers. Just a little hole in the wall bar.
But those guys all, like Kat Nelson's out at Route 66. But the thing about, I think we've all come up, if you go to Rudy's, one thing it's quality.
Yeah, it's very good food.
It's very good food.
And you don't think it's going to be when you go there.
No, it's his wings, his burgers. Yeah. Sarah was a great understudy of John. But it's great. It's great food.
Yeah. So you're kind of, I guess that rising tide raises all boats around here.
Yeah. Maybe.
We've done a couple evenings out here where you had a wine connoisseur come in and give us
sure.
Like a tour.
So we do that
we
do that almost once a month, and we get people in from all over we try to do different things, not the same thing over and over again. So, we did a first ever Lebanese dinner. I'm half Lebanese, so we had a guy in from Lebanon, a winemaker, and that was pretty cool. They did that in the spring. Down in Napa Valley, a lot of Sonoma Valley, California dinners. French Nouveau Beaujolais dinner. We do truffle dinners with Italian wine. So it's pretty diverse. We try to hit. It's not just French wines. We're all over the globe.
How was there something that inspired you to do this? Have you been to some restaurants where? Thank you very much.
This is Coquita.
Oh yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Hope you guys like it.
Oh yeah.
That's great.
Right. Woohoo!
And you can't even taste the rum.
No.
There's about 33% of rum in that bottle, but you can't even taste it.
So Coquito that's a Puerto Rican drink, right?
Absolutely. It's a drink that's usually consumed during the Christmas or during the holiday season.
Right.
Yeah. It's made with cream of coconut milk, sweet condensed milk, evaporated milk, a little bit of vanilla, and egg yolks that are cooked. So they get to that point, that nappe, that thickness that you desire. A lot of people don't cook it anymore because Nowadays everybody's so fast and so modern that they don't have time. But the traditional way of making it is to cook the egg yolk, because that gives it that richness, that consistency.
And there's not many calories in that.
No. Everything's
Diet
coconut milk, diet coconut cream, diet sweet condensed milk.
I won't have to eat dinner tonight. Thank you, sir.
So we had it was early in our career, in probably 1998, and we didn't hit it off. We didn't hit a home run right off the bat.
Sure.
It took time to build that business. And so we were just trying to do things to bring people in. And we had Molly, I remember it was Molly and Todd Summer from the Lagoons. I said, hey, if you do a wine dinner, we'll get like 30 people from the Lagoons. And we'll, so, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Let's do that. And then we'll advertise it and we'll see. And we just did that. And we started doing it and people enjoyed it. And we had a newsletter and we started putting a newsletter out. And,
I've come in here several times because of something you sent out. And we're like, this looks cool. Let's go see this.
So we're constantly, 32 years, you're constantly doing things. Easter, Mother's Day, we have a great Derby party for the Kentucky Derby. It's awesome. People get all dressed up, and it's just it's really, really, really cool. In the summertime, mostly wine dinners and stuff like that. In the fall, we do clam bakes. We do truffle dinners in November. We do an unbelievable Halloween costume party for Halloween. There's always something going on. We do 12 Beers of Christmas, so we feature like 17 Christmas ales the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So we kind of that's our targeting. So there's always something we're doing, and you just kind of did it out of necessity, and you learn from doing it, and then you take it and you say, all right, this is the start. How do we make it better?
Yeah.
Let's make it better. Let's make it better. Let's make it better and stuff.
That's super important, right? With any
we do a
business.
cigar night. We do the cigar night. We have 300 guys at the cigar night.
Cigar night.
Third Monday in May. You can't even do it. You're not even allowed technically, so we might have to edit this out. But but we do cocktails outside and they're smoking outside. But it's unbelievable. So 300 guys from all over. Limos just pull up. It's on a Monday night, and you see a line of limos pulling up. It's cool.
I love
it's
cigars.
really cool.
I don't know what I'm smoking though. I'm learning as I go.
Yeah. So but that's cool. So we do a lot of that. Just you got to be aggressive. If you're gonna sit back and twiddle your thumbs and hope someone comes in, you're gonna be out of business. So it's a constant.
And when you opened it up all those years ago, what was the how did they look at you when you opened up? Oh my God, here's this high-end restaurant in Vermillion. I mean,
remember there was one before here. So
that's right. It was another.
Yeah. So we didn't open. Right? Those guys. Le Berge du Port paved the way for high-end dining. We just took over after them, and we were pretty much 22 years old. Our average patron was 45. So
you guys were 22 years old. Wow.
Yeah. So our average patron was 45, so double our age, and we just listened and just said, hey, you should do this, you should do that. And just started important. With 12 wines, and now we have 400 or 500 wines or whatever. So you listen. Oh, you should try this. You should do this. Oh, okay. Let me take a look at that. So, and then you build a brand. You build your brand, and what's Chez Francois? High quality, great experience. But as you build that brand, then that brand and protecting that brand guides you. Hey, guys come. Hey, I want to do this comedian come. I want to do a comedy night. I'm not sure that would work for me. So you got to watch what would work, what doesn't work.
Right.
So like that. So.
Do you have celebrities that have come in?
Not really, no. You'd think though, but
there's a couple who live in the area.
Yeah. Hey, do you have my briefcase over there? Yeah. So we had Mary. Mary Wood. Mary. She was with the Supremes. She was the Supreme. Remember in the Supremes? She left the Supremes. She was the one gal that went on her own and everything. So, give me a pen. So, anyways, but we don't get celebrities. I think it's a little bit out of the way. Celebrities are living downtown or staying in Cleveland.
Right.
It's too far of a hike for them or something. So, for the most part, we are celebrity free. But so it's been it's been pretty crazy. And Vermillion's come a long way. I mean, I think Vermillion's really done a great job, and
Vermillion is a place that, for the most part, is looking to cater to the people coming in for vacations. This town folds up a lot of times in September.
Yeah.
And that's it for the season.
Someone told me during the summer it's 50,000. If everyone's in every hotel room, every B&B, everything, it's about 50,000 people, and in the winter it's 10,000. So
wow,
that's just it. It's just a matter of capacity and all that. So it's been interesting. It's been a good. I think money has. you think of Cleveland as the expansion goes out to like Avon Lake now, and then you kind of jumps over Lorraine, lands in Vermillion a little bit, jumps over Huron, lands in Sandusky. And there's a lot of stuff going on in Sandusky now, restaurants and stuff like that. Downtown living's back in Sandusky, and then it jumps over to Catawba Island, and stuff like that. And that's where your kind of pockets of money, kind of are. So.
Yeah, for the people who don't know, we're about 30 minutes from Sandusky, so Cedar Point, which also I'm sure brings in the
well, and
tourists.
and that was an anchor. Sure, 1918, I think Cedar Point started. So again, that's when people started coming out here as well. So great fishing.
Yeah.
You get great fishing in the spring, so you get a lot of fishermen that come up here.
Yeah, I was amazed you said they were fishing for herring.
Herring and whitefish, yeah. And then they said in 1930 the fish ran dry. They disappeared.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I have these old guys like the great. Who you should talk to is Mose. Mr. Mose is a great historian on facts in town.
I'll have to check him out.
Yeah, he's really cool. He does an electric boat now, so we do electric boat guide. So if you want to come in and you can get in early, book through him. He'll take you on a ride throughout the lagoons and into the mouth of the river out to the lake. It's an electric boat, seats about 6, and he gives you a whole tour on a history.
You know what? I think I've seen that
it's cool.
there before.
Yeah, it's really cool. And again, it's just one more thing that's kind of you can add to the experience of coming out here.
Right.
But he does a great job, and he's a great historian.
Fantastic. Well, what's coming up next? What do you guys?
That's it, baby. We're done. The season's slowly winding
over.
down. New Year's Eve is our big last hurrah. We're still doing some truffles. We've got black truffles and white truffles. White truffles the market's collapsed on white truffles. They're only $1,500 a pound now, so sometimes they're $4,000.
Wow.
So we're still doing some white truffle things. But we're kind of winding down the tail end of. And
then New Year's Eve is your last. You
Yep.
close down until.
So then we come back. We close 3 weeks in January, and then we open Touche back up. And
Okay.
Touche's open Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, the last weekend in January through February and on. And then we'll come back here right around St. Patrick's Day. And we'll open here, and when we open here, then we're open full time upstairs and downstairs.
Right.
So and Touche's, we started Touche in 2007. We got the bar, you got the Parisian room for back private dining. And we're flexible. We just kind of look for, it's a great space for a private party.
Touche's is you don't get any less quality at Touche's for sure. It's just a little bit different restaurant.
Yeah, so I started doing like these barrel-aged cocktails, and now I think we've got like 7 barrels of different things. And I think our Christmas ales, we limit to 6, and then we rotate 6 different Christmas ales out and about. And then I've got 21. I'm up to 21 Christmas cocktails.
Wow.
So they told me I can't do any more. 21's enough. Speaking of the Coquita, the Hartzler Farms has a great eggnog.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Again, that's just like, it's great. So we mix that with rum, or bourbon, or whatever your choice. It's fantastic. So it's good
Who was the gentleman who brought the Coquita?
So Omar's one of our servers. He works for us, so he works in front of the house, and so he's a Culinary Institute grad. So he's our Google of culinary things. So if we have any questions on something, we go to Omar.
Right.
Omar originally from Spain, grew up in Puerto Rico, went to University of Michigan, and didn't like finance in Michigan, so he went on to go to the Culinary Institute of America. Yeah. So
where is that? New York?
New York, Hyde Park, New York.
I think my wife has a friend who's there right now.
Yeah.
Best culinary school in the world. Hoboku said in 1998 that the CIA is the West Point and the Harvard of culinary schools. Right. Because working in a kitchen in a restaurant, in theory, is very militaristic. There's a chain of command.
Sure.
Everybody has to stay on their lane and do whatever they. If you go out on your lane, then you're interrupting other people's. So I did finance and I was a commercial credit banker for about 3 years, but it never really satisfied me in terms of my core. So I went to culinary school and followed my dream, and I've been working for Matt 3 years now, and I love it. He's a great boss. In my opinion, he's the best general manager and best maitre d' in Cleveland. And like I said to them, to be the best, you got to work with the best.
Right.
And I heard during your conversation that you mentioned that there's a lot of people that have opened up their restaurants after working here. And that's a good indicative of how good a restaurant is.
Yeah.
If your troops follow and they lead after, then you're a great leader.
So all Bill Belichick's coaches going on to become.
Absolutely.
Although those guys don't do that well.
They don't do that well, right? You're right. You're right.
Well, I guess he didn't even show them how to cheat properly.
Yeah. There's something he was.
Good
but
to meet you, Omar.
When you talk about that, think about Belichick. Let's just talk about sports a little bit in here too. You talk about systems, and no greater system has than New England, and I'll throw in the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got great systems. They know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
They know what their brand is. They know what they do. And when they go and they draft people or they recruit people to play for them, they know exactly what they're going to do, right? They're going to fit that spot, that need. You know, think about when Mike Tomlin became the coach of Pittsburgh. He was like a defensive backs coach in Minnesota. Like, what? Who is he? Why would the Pittsburgh Steelers? It's their third coach. They're their fourth coach. They chose him because he was able to. They probably went to him and said, "Here's our system. Can you coach within our system?
Yeah.
Right? This is how we do. I don't need you to change my system because I've already won 5 Super Bowls.
Right.
Our system works.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go to Cleveland. What happens in Cleveland? They have no system.
Right.
So what to do? Get a head coach, comes in, he drafts all these players to fit his system. He's out in 3 years. 3 years. New coach comes in. All these players, they don't fit my system. I got to get rid of them.
Yeah.
We're going to get a new system in. Do the new system. And so every 3 years, you've got a new system.
Yeah.
And it's all about inconsistency. You want to be continuity. You want to be continuity, kind of doing the same thing, the same experience.
That makes total sense, right?
And that's what it is. You've got to, as an owner, Haslam or someone has to define who are you, what do you want to be, and this is it. And then you draft people according to that.
Yeah.
And that's what Belichick understands that.
Yeah.
And that's why Pittsburgh understands that. Some years are off, some years not, but for the most part, they're always going to be there. That's why.
Yeah.
And so you got to find that person to do that. So I think they're in good hands now with the Browns. We'll see. But it's just now they're going to get a new coach. So,
sure.
So the key is the coach has got to coach within that system.
Right. Well, the coach may have to develop a system at this point.
Right. Well, yeah. Or John Dorsey does.
Yeah.
But as you so here, you know, we know who's going to work, who's not going to work. We know we don't want to exceed anyone's expectations. 4.5 people, Omar, 4.5. So yeah. But yeah. So that's just it. So right, and that's the key. You know, if you're not, you know, I don't need prima donnas coming in here. My system works. Just don't be a prima donna. Follow my system. Follow my rules. Follow what I do, and you'll have a great experience.
So you're looking for people. You're not necessarily looking for. When you get a server here and they're so fantastic, you're not necessarily looking for someone who's worked in some high-end restaurant somewhere else. You're looking for people that you can build in your system.
Absolutely, yeah, because they're going to come with the attitude. They're going to come with this, and
or this guy did it this way, but that's not my way of doing it.
And you know, a lot of times you have a person that's a number 1 server at any restaurant, wherever, and they come here, they're number 12.
Sure.
And that's tough.
Yeah.
Because number 1, wherever you are, you get your days, you get your shift, you get your tables, you get everything. You come here, you got to work your way up the ladder to do that, to achieve that thing. So it takes time.
Yeah.
You know, for us. So nothing happens overnight. So we get a few here and there, but they don't last too long.
Pay your dues.
You got to find that person. You got to find the person. We love school teachers. School teachers are off in the summer. We're busy in the summer. They come and they work in the summer. Then they go back to school. We don't need them because we slow down a little bit. So that works out.
Dealing with large populations of crazy people.
Absolutely. So you know, to be here, you know, you have to be a little. We get a lot of our servers a great crossover job. If you're a great server, you can be a great ER, work in the emergency room of a hospital. But think about it. You've got 5 or 6 tables you're dealing with. Every table's different. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just like an emergency room. You got 5 different things coming in all at once. You got to prioritize what's more important than everything else.
Triage. Tables.
You got to triage each table.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that takes a person. You have to be OCD.
Yeah. To
focus in on that table, but you also have to be ADD because you have to deal with 5 or 6 of those tables.
Right.
So I think you have to be more ADD than OCD. But think about that whole thing, and that's not for everybody.
Right.
And some people it takes a year, some people it takes 2 years. Some people they just can't process.
My wife just loved working in high-end restaurants as a server. I think it would drive me mad. Right. I don't think I could handle it.
Right. Plus, on top of all that, you got to be friendly, you got to be nice,
right.
You got to, you know, you're looking at each table and finding out what their expectations are. What are they? What kind of experience they're looking for? Slow it down. We're going to do a couple cocktails, then we'll look at menus. Hey, we want menus right away. You know, so it just depends on that. So you have to identify and just deal with that. So that's a whole process.
Right.
Just doing that. So there's a lot of layers. You know that I think we make it look pretty easy, but we make it look easy because we understand it.
Yeah.
You know, that's why they say,
you understand your system.
Coming back saying, why is the restaurant business so hard? It's just not about putting a good piece of fish or something on a plate and delivering it. There's a whole lot of things. Now, that's primarily the best thing. You're going to always come to a place with great food, but there's a lot of things also that come along.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, you talked about, you hit it right there. Experience.
Well, I was just going to say,
great experience.
If the food was of slightly lesser quality, I think I would still come here for the experience.
Right.
But you get everything.
Right.
from the view to the servers to the food to the drinks, it works.
It works.
It all works.
It's cool. I always told people appreciate what we do. Most people, I think, do. And that's so.
Yep. And make sure you're wearing a tie when you walk
Sport,
in the
no,
front
just sport
door.
coat. Just sport
Is it
coat.
sport coat now?
Yeah, just sport coat. Ties have always been optional. We have a buddy, Steve Davey, who was running Goodwill, like 6 Goodwill stores. So he was able to secure some sport coats. So we got some beautiful blue
just
blue
in
blazers.
case someone comes
just
in
in
without
case,
one.
Just in case.
Because you probably get some of that during voting season.
Yeah, you just let it go. It's just they'll come. They always, you never want to embarrass anyone.
Sure. Yeah.
We say we put on the back of their chair, said, hey, and they always come back and say thank you. Next time we'll make sure I have a sport coat.
Yeah.
So you're not.
But again, that's part of the experience. Dress
Absolutely.
up, come out, have a nice.
And
meal.
people like that. People like getting dressed up.
It's nice to come into a restaurant, as we're both sitting here with hats on.
Yeah.
It's nice to come into a restaurant and be dressed up, and everybody in the restaurant is dressed up. And like you said earlier, no one's on their cell phone.
Yep.
And nobody's wearing a baseball cap.
Yep.
Or anything, which drives me nuts, even in an Applebee's or something. When you walk in and see some guy sitting there with his that scene from The Sopranos where Tony went over and yelled at the guy, take your hat off.
That's just the society we're in now. So,
yeah.
But it comes back to bite you in the ass at some point too. So you just, So, anyways, but it works.
Absolutely, it does.
We get a lot of, now the next core of people, we get a lot of young girls that want to have their birthday parties here. So it's hilarious. Like 13, 14, 15-year-old girls.
Really?
I have my buddy Chris Johnson. We grew up together in Lakewood, and his granddaughter says, Papa. He goes, no, Grandpa. He goes, I want to go to Chez Francois for my birthday. She goes, all right. She goes, we'll go outside and we'll sit in the patio and watch. Oh, no, Grandpa. Yeah. We're sitting inside.
Right.
We're going to go inside. So we're going to get dressed up. We're going inside. So it was hilarious.
I love it.
So we decked the table out. We had fresh flowers, and we had like 25 votive candles.
Right.
They make her day. Here's this little girl. She'll remember that her whole life.
Absolutely.
And if there are 25,
and that's her experience.
Right. If there are 25 voters in her mind, there are 50. If there are one bouquet of flowers in her mind, there was a whole bouquet.
Sure.
Right. It's always bigger. So it was awesome. We just had a great time, and she was flabbergasted. She was speechless. So
Fantastic.
That was cool. So that's fun to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
it's all about the experience.
You do that, and then you have people that are, we had a gentleman in last night. It was his last dinner here. He's moving down to South Carolina. His wife had passed away a couple years ago, and he was a great patron of ours. But he said, I'm done. I sold my house. I'm moving down south. And we gave him a big hug, enjoyed a little wine with him, and he was on his way. So it's tough.
Sure.
You have that, but it's just, that's the life of a restaurant. You're constantly, the key is bringing in younger blood to get a taste of what this is all about and stuff like that. We've done a good job with the help of the internet. The internet's always, we're highly rated, so that's always brought in people to, take a look and curious. So
I think people have to realize this is something you need in your life. If you have the means to come out here and have a nice dinner, this is something worth spending your money on, as opposed to some useless piece of technology or going out and spending probably the same amount of money drinking with your buddies in downtown Cleveland as you would coming here for a fantastic meal.
And the other thing is, go downtown, drive downtown. If you're on the west side of Cleveland, what's it, 20 minutes? It's 30 minutes out here.
Yeah.
It's not that much difference.
Yeah.
It's peaceful. You're going to find a parking spot along those streets, but it's just cool. But it's not
take a stroll down to the beach afterwards.
It's not that much of a difference.
Yeah.
It's 10 minutes, if that. Really, really isn't. From downtown Cleveland, it's 45 minutes.
Right.
That's it. So.
And like we said earlier about going to restaurants in downtown Cleveland, some of them are fantastic. The food's wonderful. Yeah. It's not the same experience.
No. Well, they don't get it. They're just too big. They're trying to run people through it, and they just don't. Nobody gets what I don't think most guys that are in my business don't get the whole aspect of you're catering to every sense.
Yes.
So it's just not about taste. It's about everything.
Right.
Is the room too warm? Is the room too cold? Is the music too loud? Is it not loud?
That's huge.
Is it cool
for me.
music playing? So now we go into our Christmas music and really cool, Vanessa Williams and Mary J. Blige Christmas. They're great. Man, it's soulful. I like that soulful to me. And again, it comes down to the soul of a restaurant. Does a restaurant have soul?
Right.
Is it just are they going through the motions, or do they have a sense of soul?
Well, I can see that you love your brand. You love your business, and I think we have our brand with the podcast and the apparel company, and one of the things that we talk about, my wife and I, all the time is what are our values and what are we about? And are we going to sell a T-shirt for $20 and it's going to be kind of a shitty T-shirt that you're not really going to like, or do we pop it up to $26 and we get the best quality T-shirt we can
next
get?
level, that next level of
Yes.
those triple blends,
Right,
like they feel like silk.
Exactly.
That's what
we
I
sell.
buy.
Yeah.
Because I'm not buying the con bullshit.
Yep.
I want, and when I find it, and I'll be out wherever, traveling to the country, and I'll find something. That's what I like, and I take it, and I bring it back. I was like, this is the shirt I want. You know, I had this guy one time, he's like, no, I couldn't find the shirt, I got this shirt. No, no cotton.
Yeah.
I want the triple blend.
When we
That's what
started our business, I went down to the company, Gonis in Lakewood, and I sat there for an hour feeling fabrics to make sure it was the best.
Right.
If bumping it up, the price up a little bit, makes a couple people less likely to buy it, but the people who do buy it love it.
That's the way it is.
That's what I want.
That's what I do. That's the key. Just it has to be the best and stuff that you would feel comfortable wearing.
Yes.
So yeah, so I'm
gonna have to bring you a T-shirt. I forgot to.
I'll give you my T-shirt.
We'll trade them.
I got good stuff. Oh yeah. But Cleveland Printwear out of Lakewood. I don't know if those guys are good guys.
Yeah.
But they do a printing. But yeah, it's all about that. You know what I'm saying? It's just finding the right thing that you just
you're passionate about.
It's right, and it's going to carry on. Everyone's not going to get it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But the person that gets it, that's the key.
Yeah.
And hopefully there's more people than less people that get it.
Yeah.
So you'll have a business.
I want to make sure it's just not you.
Yeah. So when we started, it was funny. In 1988, we were just a year in the business, and we had these guys that we went to school with in St. Ed's, and they're starting a brewery. And the guys, the one kid's brother's a teacher in Chicago, and he came back, and he was going, we're going to do beer, and I'm going to go to the West Side Market, and I'm going to get some hot dogs and some different cuts of meat, and we're going to do that. And we're like, all right, and you guys are in the restaurant, could you help us out? We're like, yeah, we'll come down, we'll take a look at what you guys are doing. And so we kind of helped them out a little bit, but we said, we couldn't agree with what it would be, what we would charge them to help them consult and open this restaurant.
Sure.
But in the end, we're like, really? These guys aren't going to make it.
Yeah.
They can't make it. That was Great Lakes Brewery. You might have heard of
No
them.
shit. Well, you can't always be right. I want to thank you very much for having us out.
Brother. Anytime.
Fantastic. I'd love to do it again sometime.
Cool.
And as soon as St. Patty's Day starts rolling around, we'll be out for our annual
the 33rd season commences.
33rd season. Fantastic.
And they said it wouldn't last.
Well, if you're in the market for a real dining experience, check out Chez Francois in Vermillion, Ohio. Matt, I want to thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you
so
much.
All right. This has been The Refined Savage. See ya.
Bye-bye.